Hi everyone, Scott Owens here with Mimosa Research. I wanted to do a video on the evolution of the custom shop gun over time. We'll start over here with this one. This is a USMC roll mark in the 4400 range. It originally came in a Pelican box. Pelican box contains Wilson Combat 47CB magazines, 2 of them. Let's take a closer look at this one. One thing you can see here is there is no gunsmith stamp here in the lower left-hand corner of the trigger guard. That presumably will be underneath here with the CCS stamp. We should see CCS down here, as well as the gunsmith number stamped behind the grip panel. Now, was this common in all of the early guns? I don't know for sure. What I do know is if you notice the VP stamp up here, you will see a little bit of finish or a little bit of the underlying frame, a little bit of the stainless steel popping through. At some point, Colt was getting complaints about the stampings on the M45A1 guns, creating issues with Cerakote flaking off. At some point in time, they moved to including the gunsmith stamp behind the grip panel as opposed to here on the left rear trigger guard. This gun was produced, or I should say, it was targeted 5/21/2013, somewhat early in custom shop gun production. The next gun I want to show you is in the 9200 range. That one came out about, or was produced about 2 years later. So the target date on that one is 3/24/2015. By this time they had switched to the M45A1 roll mark. Let's take a look at this one. And you can see we don't have a VP stamp up here anymore because by this time Colt had decided we're just not going to stamp on the Cerakote. There's no gunsmith stamp. I have pulled the grips off of this, and I do know that the gunsmith stamp resides right here. I'll throw in some B-roll. CCS is stamped underneath the grip, and 7 for the gunsmith on this particular one. This one also came in a Pelican case and had 2 Wilson Combat 47CB magazines. So for the first couple of years of custom shop production, this is what you would see. The all FDE custom shop gun in a Pelican case, and that would remain that way for the initial stages of production. Really the only thing that varies between these two is the USMC versus M45A1 roll mark. A little bit later down the road, we come up with our first color variation. The biggest difference is the color, and this time this one came in a blue cardboard custom shop container with a white outer shipper. I will show you what that box looks like. This is the blue cardboard custom shop box. If we open it up, you can see double foam inside, test target, etc. And 2, again, Wilson Combat 47CB magazines. This is the only variation that came in that box. Everything else came in either a Pelican case or a blue plastic clamshell. So let's take a closer look at this one. You can see the serial there. One thing I've noticed about this particular range of guns, all these ones that are black, to my eyes, this rear part of the trigger guard here is a little, it's maybe not as perfectly shaped as it could have been. I had one of these from the same series where this rear trigger guard area was really not shaped well. Look for that when you're looking for something in this variation. Date on that one is 10/28/2015 for the target. Now I have gotten a letter on this one, and I do know a couple of interesting things. Its date of manufacture is listed as 3/31/2015. It shows that it was manufactured in March of 2015. The date on the test target is October, so there's a few months in between those two there. And I know that the date of shipment on this was November 17th of 2015. Sat on the shelf for nearly 7 months, was targeted in October, and shipped in November, all of 2015. Additional thing about this particular variation is you'll notice this Ambi safety on this side is significantly different than what you've seen in the past. And if I roll that over, you can see a roll pin that is put into a solid pin that goes all the way through the frame here. That is a Novak Barstock safety. And that only shows up in two variations of the M45A1, this variation and the next one. You'll see that has the same Novak Barstock Ambi safety. When the DecoBond finish was approved, this became the next custom shop variation that came out. I didn't see a lot of these, so I don't know how many were made, but not a lot, I can tell you that much. Let's take a closer look at this one. Again, you can see that unusual Novak Barstock safety. From a stamping standpoint, we do see a 7 back here, lower left trigger guard, presumably CCS underneath here. There is a hint of a VP stamp. If you look really close, you can see that there. So if you're looking for a custom shop, if you want an interesting and unusual variation, look for a custom shop in DecoBond without a checkered front strap, with a smooth front strap, and with this Novak Barstock safety. That is hard to find one. Came in a Pelican case, again, Wilson Combat 47 CB magazines. The information I have on this one, because I have a letter for it as well, it was manufactured September 10th of 2015. It was targeted November 23rd of 2015, and then it was shipped November 30th of 2015. All right, next, another variation that looks pretty similar between these two. This one was targeted April 19th of 2016. So there is 6 months difference between this one and this one. This one, take a look at this, has the standard Colt Ambi safety that you would see on all the other custom shop guns. There is a 7 on there. It might be a little hard to see, but as I rotate it, perhaps you can see it. Presumably a CCS underneath here. And this one, as opposed to this one, came in a Pelican case, two Wilson Combat 47 CB magazines. This one came in the blue cardboard box with the white outer shipper. This one came in a Pelican case 6 months later with a outer cardboard shipper. What I find interesting is these two guns were manufactured about 6 months apart, and I always thought that this firearm was followed up by the Black DecoBond, but it's not the case. Apparently this came in between them. Let's talk about Black IonBond next. IonBond exclusively is black. DecoBond is any color other than black. Let's take a look at this one. This one's one of my favorites, if I'm to be honest with you. All right, so this is Black IonBond finish. And as we flip it over here, we can see there is a 5 for gunsmith stamp. And what's interesting about this one that I've never seen on any other, the mainspring housing pin back here is unfinished or raw stainless steel. This one, also Pelican case, Wilson Combat 47 CBs. I did take the grip off of that, and I'll insert some B-roll on that where I did a grip study and a CCS study. These two, the IonBond and the DecoBond have made repeated appearances from the point where these were manufactured up until today. Custom Shop would rotate through 3 different color variations, an all FDE, an all black, and an FDE frame black slide. Today, predominantly what you will find if you're looking for a Custom Shop gun, they're all going to come in Pelican cases. They will all be either all FDE, all black, or mixed. What distinguishes the early variations from later variations, you can see every single pistol down here has a checkered front strap. So starting from this edition forward, all Custom Shop guns, in addition to having a number or nothing stamped in that lower left trigger guard, will also have checkered front straps. Let's talk about this one next. This gun, in case I didn't mention it, this gun was targeted August 26, 2016. So this is April of 2016. 4 months later, this is August of 2016. After this firearm, there was a period of time where the Custom Shop was not making M45A1 pistols for commercial sales. The line reportedly was canceled. If you were to call Colt and talk to them, they would say the line is canceled. And at some point they decided, well, maybe that wasn't the best move, so they started producing Custom Shop guns again. And the first one that came out is this variation. And we'll talk about some interesting things with this pistol in particular. First of all, note the serial number 9618. That is significantly different from the other serial numbers that I've just shown you. Flip it over, 7 on the back, presumably CCS underneath here. I took the grips off of one of these silver ones, I think. So again, I'll throw some B-roll in for that. Something new out of this variation. 2 things new out of this variation. Checkered front strap. Grips are now, I'll call them white and black, as opposed to a sandwich of black, white, FDE, white, black. This is just black and white. When I had these grips off, they looked more gray to me. Sitting here looking at these, they look white, but they may actually be gray. Not 100% sure. To me, they looked gray and not white. These grips would make an appearance on firearms where the black and gray grip looked better. For example, if you had a black slide, or if you had a no finish at all, or no coating at all. All black FDE with a black slide and stainless steel, or raw stainless steel, got the black and gray grips. All right, interesting about the serial number. Notice that that was 09618. This serial number is 09619. My conclusion here is you cannot necessarily determine what order a firearm was made in based on the serial number, because according to the Colt letter I have for this one, 9619 was targeted in October of 2015, shipped November of 2015. This firearm, which is one serial before it in sequence, was targeted on April 27th of 2017. So there is a more than 2-year difference between these two firearms, even though they're sequential in number. Now, I did have another pistol out of this particular variation. By the way, this one came in a Pelican case. The Pelican case had these new mags, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. And I had another pistol in this series that came in a Pelican case. Its serial number was in the 15,000 range. And when we look at, again, the serial for this and the markings, notice that they are not darkened, as opposed to, I'll see if I can do this somewhat gracefully. this later variation, notice how the serials are black on this one, or more dark, I should say. I will show one with a serial number closer to this serial number, and yet you'll see that the serials are not darkened. What does that mean? I'm not 100% sure. I suspect it means that these frames had the serials engraved first, then the finish was applied later for this series of pistols, whereas on this one I suspect the finish was applied first and then lasered with the serial number. That is supposition on my part. I don't know that for sure. This one, Pelican case, these new Colt marked or branded 8-round magazines with the metal follower that I don't particularly like. I've had issues with these 8-round type of followers. It's probably just me. It has a plastic, very widely flared base plate. And anytime you see a black and gray gun, regardless of the box it came in, it will always have this style of mag. I'm going to make a guess here. I'm going to guess that Colt decided to reintroduce the custom shop gun. They had some leftover Pelican cases. They had some previously created frames. For some reason, maybe they ran out of the Wilson Combats, or they decided to go with this mag instead. Don't know the reasons behind that. If you do, let me know. I'd be curious to know. And so they put together a package of this in a Pelican case with this mag. Next firearm I want to talk about is this one, which is interesting for a bunch of different reasons. This one is DecoBond frame with an IonBond slide. It was manufactured on September 10th, 2015. Guess what else was manufactured on September 10th, 2015? This gun. And you will see the serial range on that one is pretty darn close. Serial number 10724. You can see there's a 9 back here on the trigger guard. VP stamp up here. And presumably CCS underneath here. All right, this firearm, again, was manufactured the same day as this firearm. The serial on this is 10743. So in terms of serial, this serial is actually 19 serial numbers before this one. It was manufactured on the same day, according to the Colt letter. However, this one was targeted in August of 2017. This one sat on the shelf for 23 months. This one made the same day as this one, not targeted until 23 months later, and shipped out on August 18th, shipped out a week later. That's interesting. What does that mean? I don't exactly know. I can tell you I picked this up in late 2017 when they first became available. What was interesting about this particular variation, notice the grips are back to black, white, FDE, white, black. This one was shipped in a blue plastic clamshell box, and it came with Wilson Combat 47 CB magazines. This letters as one of 27, so there were only 27 of these made. All of these are in this approximate serial number range, although I believe there are some later ones, but not significantly later. Made the same day, shipped. This one shipped 23 months later, and came in a blue plastic clamshell as opposed to a Pelican case. Unusual and rare variation here. Next up, we come to another gray and black. The color of this Cerakote, this is Cerakote, this is DecoBond and IonBond, this is Cerakote. Both of these guys have a Macmillan gray Cerakote frame and a black Cerakote slide. This one came a little bit later. This one was targeted 8/21, 2017, so about 10 days after this one. This one was targeted 8/11. This one was targeted 8/21. This one came in this blue plastic clamshell. And again, it has these Colt branded silver 8-round magazines. And we'll take a closer look at this one again. And again, I'd say the serial is significantly darkened as opposed to this Macmillan gray one. And a 5 on the back. Nice VP there as well. Okay, next gun is this one. This is one of the standard productions that you'll see going forward. DecoBond frame, IonBond slide. Comes in a Pelican case, has the checkered front strap, and you'll see the black and white or black and gray grip panels. Occasionally you'll see one of these come out with the white, or the FDE included rather, but primarily you'll see the black and gray for that one. We'll take a closer look at this one. Now, this is fairly recent production. And we got a 9 and a VP. 9 back here, VP up here, checkered front strap. And they will, like I said, modern M45A1 production is a rotation of all FDE, all black, and combo. Pelican case, if I didn't mention it, back to the 47 CB magazines. You only see these mags with the Macmillan gray, regardless of box. Target on that one is February 18. The one before it that I had was August of 17 to February of 18. Again, in between this one and this one, I saw at least one run of FDE with the checkered front strap and this style of grip. They started the rotation of this, and this in between these two. And I purchased that one because it was different and unusual. First time I had seen that come out with a Pelican case. And then the most recent firearm I have is the raw stainless steel one. So let's take a look at that one. Starting about serial range 18,000, mid 18,000s, I think, is when I really started seeing a difference in the font. Notice the serial number on this is 19018EGA. Notice that that 0 has a crossbar in it. And if you look and compare the fonts, they are slightly different between what you will see in the earlier variation. So at some point, they change the font and they turn the laser up to 11. I've seen a lot of these where, oh, sorry, let's do a look at the other side. A VP stamp in the trigger guard here, a gunsmith stamp down here, and I did take these grips off, and there is a CCS back here as well. Very good looking raw stainless steel gun. I've only seen one release of this so far. Came in a Pelican case with Wilson Combat 47 CB magazines. Interestingly, there was a short period of time where Colt was only shipping guns with one magazine. By the time this rolled around, it was back to 2. So this one only has one magazine inside its box, Wilson Combat 47 CB. That was the same for regular production guns as well. Target date on that one is September 23rd of 2020. So there's a 2-year difference, over a 2-year difference between these two. 2.5-year difference. So this one was February 2018. This one was produced, or at least it was targeted, September of 2020. And that is a quick walkthrough of the evolution of the custom shop guns. Thanks for hanging out with me.